cannot stress enough how important it is to master your chord inversions. So when I was learning to play the piano, this was probably the thing I liked practicing the least. It stressed me out. I always struggled. I couldn't get the fingering right. But as a piano player in the world today, I find that inversions are the thing I use the most. So this lesson is all about teaching you how to practice your inversions so that you can play them efficiently, you can play them confidently, you can play them super fast, and you don't have to feel stressed about it. And if you can do those things, you can basically play any song. So that's very exciting. Okay, so let's dive in. Number one, most people begin with their chord inversion practice in an easy key signature like C, which is great, but I actually find that practicing inversions in a key signature that includes one or more sharps to be much easier. So we're gonna start with D major for our practice today. And the reason for this is that this black key will actually help you to navigate the keys so that it's easier for you to place your hand and know where you're going because you have this like landmark that's really obvious. Okay, so we've got our D major triad. The first thing we need to think about are the notes. We have a D, an F sharp, and an A. And this might seem crazy, but a lot of times we're always thinking about what are the next notes that we have to play. The notes will never change when you're practicing your inversions. You will always be working with D, F sharp, and A. That's it. Root position looks like this. It's like just a nice little stack of thirds. So get comfortable here first. Now the first inversion is called first inversion. And what we do is we take the bottom note and put it on the top. It's gonna look like this. So notice my black key is now the bottom of the shape. And this is really important because if you can really gain confidence with these shapes, you'll be able to play inversions with your eyes closed, practically sleeping. So F sharp, A, and D, look at this. We've got a third on the bottom, a fourth on the top. So the small space is here, the big space is here, and we're using our 1, 2, 5. So that's the next most important thing is you have to memorize this fingering. 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 5. And look how beautifully that fits underneath the hand. It's strain-free, it's right there. We call this first inversion. That root note, the D, is at the top spot, first spot. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna invert it once more. So this bottom note's gonna go to the top. So use that to orientate yourself. You're gonna play the same notes, A, D, F sharp. Now, the bigger space is on the bottom, and the smaller space is on the top, and that root note is in the second position. So we have a second inversion D chord, and we're back to 1, 3, 5. So you only need to use that 2-finger once, and then you're back to the 1, 3, 5 shape. Now if you invert this one more time, taking that bottom note, placing it here, so your thumb takes over here, that black key's back in the middle, and you're exactly where you started. So seamlessly, if we play that all together, root position, first inversion, use the 2-finger, second inversion, the root note's in the middle, and back to root position. So that's all fine and dandy, but how do you get fast at this? Well, that's where the repetition comes in. So what you want to do is you want to work at really getting comfortable with this first step first. So many of us are focused on getting to the top and the bottom, but that's not going to be efficient if you can't master these first steps. So just get comfortable. Root first. Root first. Pay attention to how it feels under the hand. Pay attention to the fingering. You've got 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 5 here, 1, 2, 5. Once you got that, start in first inversion and move to second. And this is where it can be maybe the most challenging step because you've got no root position chord to orientate yourself. Once you got that, this is what you want to do. Now, the same is true for the left hand, but the fingering is flipped. This is why inversions can be tricky. 5, 3, 1. Use this black key as your landmark. You know that's where your 5 finger is going to go. The smaller space on the bottom, the bigger space on the top. 5, 3, 1 again here. And then we're going to invert it another time. So bottom note goes to the top. Our 5 finger replaces where the 3 is right now. And here we use our 2. We've got the bigger space on the bottom, smaller space on the top. One more inversion. Boom. We're back in root position. 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 2, 1, and then 5, 3, 1. And again, work in these little chunks until you've gained the confidence, paying attention to the shapes, using that black key to help orientate yourself, and you are going to be playing inversions with confidence in no time. So once you've got your hands separate, all sorted out, you're gonna work together exactly the same way, bringing a really serious mindfulness to what you're doing, understanding that you don't have to have this mastered overnight, that this can take a long time, and that's okay. Just start with this first step, weighing heavily into the hands until you've got your confidence, and then you can add more. And once you can do this process without, really having to feel like, oh, this was hard work, that's when you can start to play with a metronome, increase your speed, and introduce a broken triad practice as well. So these skills can be applied to any triad, but I really do love the idea of starting with a triad like D major or E major or even A major, where you have that black key to help navigate where you are. It serves as a landmark and it's so helpful. So practice your inversions. I promise it's worth it. Make that a little part of your practice every day and then move on to some of the other fun stuff. Comment below. Let me know what your experience with inversions is. Do you find it challenging to practice them? Do they overwhelm you? Do you like them? Do you hate them? I want to know. We'll see you around.